service announcement to all of California, the West Coast, Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco, and all cities in California and towns. This is not a joke. This date is May 31st, 2019. Again, this is an emergency public service announcement. May 31st, 2019. Do not take this as a joke. It is not a joke. This is very serious. Pay attention. Get family members to this video. Get co-workers to this video. Show this video to everybody. This is an emergency bulletin to the West Coast of the United States. California, Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco, Palm Springs, Indio, the suburbs of California, the suburbs of San Diego, the suburbs of San Francisco, and neighboring states of Arizona, Nevada, Oregon. This is an all-out emergency alert. You are about to be wiped out. This is not a joke. Again, this is not a joke. You are about to be hit with the bubonic plague. It will wipe out millions of you in 2019, summer of 2019. The bubonic plague is about to come upon you. It will wipe out millions of you, and there is no cure for it. It isn't going to be fast enough. Hospitals will be overwhelmed. Emergency services will be overwhelmed. Hundreds upon hundreds will be dying and dead in the street, causing further disease. This is not a joke. This bulletin is being broadcast May 31st, 2019, to all West Coast residents in California, Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco, Palm Springs, and neighboring states of Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, up into Washington, the entire western United States, as well as the United States. Hundreds upon hundreds and maybe millions will be trying to flee the West Coast for other states across the country. They need to be stopped. The plague is about to become upon you. This is not a joke. Pay attention to what's about to be broadcast.
We have complete breakdown of the basic needs of civilization in Los Angeles right now. We have the three prongs of airborne disease. Tuberculosis is exploding. Rodent-borne. We are one of the only major cities in the country that does not have a rodent control program, and sanitation is broken down. We had a typhus outbreak last summer. We will have a typhus outbreak this summer. I'm hearing from experts that bubonic plague is likely. It's already here. It will get onto the rat fleas. And then now finally we have this oral fecal route contamination, which is typhoid fever. 3 cases. 1 confirmed, probably 3. This is unbelievable. I can't believe I live in a city where this is not third world, Laura. This is medieval. Third world countries are insulted if they are accused of being like this. No city on earth tolerates this. The entire population is at risk. And God forbid if measles, this is a population that's suboptimally immunized. If measles gets in, I just have an image of myself on my knees in the gutter tending to people, because this summer is likely to be a very profound problem.
Well, and meanwhile, we're welcoming in, tens of thousands into California in the next few months of illegal immigrants. And I had a chance to talk to a lot of these migrants after they cross the border. They have no papers, they have no identification, but they have a friend or a relative who are going to go visit, and one couple of people had nowhere to go. So I don't know how you ever check health records, and they're flooding into many cities in California, San Jose, LA,
right.
San
and
Diego.
we can't handle our situation such as it is. And there's a very bizarre thing going on where the government is somehow insisting that housing is the problem, when in fact we have chronic mental illness, we have addiction, we have people who don't want to leave the streets. They literally won't take the housing if we give it to them, and that's the population that's vulnerable and is going to get so ill this summer. It scares me for their well-being. Listen, Laura, I need your help. I want to pierce their shield of qualified immunity so we can go after them for reckless negligence. This is disgusting. It is reckless negligence, and we have to have a solution to this.
Yeah, I mean, I know the businesses are all upset, just like they are in San Francisco.
No, I don't think you get how dire this is. I'm here telling you as a physician. I'm like standing on a railroad track saying the bridge is out.
But
this
could
be a very serious summer.
The liberal politicians in California care about people.
They're negligent, disgustingly negligent. It's almost like as I was driving over tonight, I thought, do they want the people on the streets to die? Is that really they don't care if they all die? We have complete breakdown of the basic needs of civilization in Los Angeles right now. I'm hearing from experts that bubonic plague is likely, it's already here, it will get onto the rat fleas, and then now finally we have this oral fecal route contamination, which is typhoid fever, 3 cases, 1 confirmed, probably 3. This is unbelievable. I can't believe I live in a city where this is not third world, Laura. This is medieval. Third world countries are insulted if they are accused of being like this. No city on earth tolerates this. The entire population is at risk. And God forbid if measles, this is a population that's suboptimally immunized. If measles gets in, I just have an image of myself on my knees in the gutter tending to people, because this summer is likely to be a very profound problem.
And here are the Democratic, communist, liberal politicians that are responsible for bringing this plague into California and the cities in California, as well as the rest of the western United States and possibly the United States. This is going to spread, wiping out millions upon millions of people. Here are the Democratic, communist, liberal politicians that are responsible for this. You're to go after them by any means possible, no matter where they're at, and that goes for those that are protecting and providing security for these politicians. Go after them. Full bore, by any means possible. Arrest them or otherwise. And you know what I mean. They are responsible. They are terrorists to this country. There is no more immunity for these communist, democratic, liberal politicians. Here's the list. We all know who this Democratic, communist, liberal skank is. Nancy Pelosi, Democratic Senator of California. Nancy Pelosi, Democratic Senator of California, otherwise referred to as Commifornia. She is responsible. She needs to be arrested, detained by any means possible, whether in California or Washington, D.C. Arrest her ass. Next up is this loudmouth, degenerate, worthless, Democratic, communist, liberal skank, Maxine Waters. She too is responsible. Find her, arrest her, and I don't give a flying shit where she's at. There is no immunity for this skank. It's over. Done. Gone. Arrest her ass or otherwise. This libtard bastard, former Governor Jerry Brown of California, and I do mean former. Find him, arrest him, or otherwise. There is no immunity for this communist terrorist bastard. Get his ass. Eric Garcetta, another one that needs to be found, arrested, or otherwise. No more immunity for this dumb son of a bitch. Gavin Newsom, Mayor of L.A. No more immunity for this dimwit bastard. Another Democratic liberal communist. Find him and arrest him.
And to Texas now, where we're learning exclusively about a new health threat Coming from illegal border crossers, the Border Patrol now worried about a virus outbreak.
And ABC 15's Savita Fergani is taking action to get that story in Texas.
They're seeing crossers with contagious infections, and sources tell me right now, all that's separating the sick from the healthy, this caution tape, and agents tell me that's not enough.
We're sending people everywhere, and the average person, the average citizen doesn't realize what's going on down here.
Agent Chris Cabrera's concerns go way past the hundreds of women and children that cross the Rio Grande River every day in southern Texas.
We're having an outbreak of scabies that it's been going on for a month or so now.
The illegals will come across, they'll jump that fence.
Texas border resident Jorge Garcia says word about the contagious skin infection is getting around.
Our Border Patrol comes and checks with us almost on a daily basis here, and they told us about an outbreak of scabies here at the McAllen station.
And that's not all.
We're starting to see chicken pox, we're starting to see staph infections, we're starting to see different viruses.
Garcia believes the viruses are not confined to the detention center. Not long ago, a group of border crossers came knocking on his door.
It was a 7-month-old baby. The baby was shaking and cold. It had a high fever.
We're told the Department of Homeland Security called in the Coast Guard medics. This trailer is just one of many used to treat the sick.
They're all contagious. So now we're transporting people to different parts of the state, different parts of the country, and some of these viruses are asymptomatic at this point. They're not showing the symptoms.
Just the fact that we're exposed to it, and so is everybody else here in South Texas, is a great concern to us.
And thousands of those immigrants that were detained, then released, are now spread all over the United States, including Arizona. It's unclear how many were treated for illness, and as of right now, DHS has denied every request I've made to speak to medical staff and take tours of the 3 facilities right here in Texas that are providing treatment. In McAllen, Texas, Savita Fergani, ABC 15 News.
On the ground, the agents are frustrated. Morale is low. They don't like to see their work. You know, when they've apprehended these people, they don't like to see them just released into our society. They want them deported as much as you and I.
All these Border Patrol agents we know are dedicated, patriotic people. We depend on them to be able to live here. I mean, if we didn't have the Border Patrol here, we probably wouldn't be here. I mean, we absolutely depend on them for our safety here. Equip them with the proper equipment that they need, night vision equipment, the latest night vision equipment, more boots on the ground. You know, we probably wouldn't be dealing with what we're dealing with right now, but that's not the case. You know, that's not happening.
They had asked years ago for more help, and instead they were cut. And now all of a sudden the government's finding all this money to house these illegals and feed them and cater them when this could have been avoided.
The criminal element is still coming through, and there's a substantial amount of that traffic slipping through here, and we're experiencing it every day. We've had a lot of traffic this week, but there's been a number of encounters with these guys. There's imminent danger out here. These people have criminal intent. It would be nothing for us to be killed and the house ransacked and vehicles stolen.
But there's only one way for this criminal element, the gang members, the young men that have been deported multi times, and this is their only route through. And this is what I'm seeing is all young males. I would say the last 50 or 60 illegal immigrants that I've seen out here have been 90%, 95% male.
A lot of these teenage boys coming from El Salvador and Guatemala, to be able to survive in Guatemala City, Guatemala, you know, by the time they're 13 years old, if they're not a gang member, they don't live. And that's what we're experiencing here. And
they've murdered somebody.
Yeah, well, they've murdered somebody, or they had to be a gang member to be able to survive. We know for a fact that these gang members that are coyotes that lead the humans through here are ruthless and heartless, and if somebody gets cramped up, they walk off and leave them. They don't call 911 to give a location where this person is. They tell them they're going to die. Sometimes they abuse them, beat them up a little bit, slap them around, and then leave them, and that's usually where they die.
What advice would you give people visiting this area of Texas?
Well, everybody just knows that, you know, you need to be very vigilant. You don't want to let any of these people get too close to you. You want to keep a distance. You want to keep a cell phone with you. And a lot of this country doesn't have cell phone service, but you definitely need to be armed. And your Second Amendment rights are very, very crucial to be able to live here. It's way past time to stand up and secure the border. No question there's a huge criminal element coming in here going to every city in the United States, even Washington, D.C. People from terrorist countries, countries that are deemed special interest countries, pouring in here undetected. It's time to step up and shut the border down. We can shut the border down in Afghanistan or Iraq. That's a big priority. Our biggest priority needs to be shut down this southwestern border.
This has made an awareness to the rest of the country, because now the rest of the country is getting these people shipped to their backyards. And, you know, we've always said what's coming through our backyard is heading to their backyard.
All of this is a radio clip of former state senator Kevin De Leon. Kevin De Leon was the author of SB 54, the sanctuary state law. And look at what he had to say about the kind of activity that is shown here on this website.
When you look and read the executive order, someone simply who received or purchased a Social Security card down at MacArthur Park or elsewhere in my district would be eligible immediately for mass deportation.
So there are a couple of things here. First of all, I want to make sure I understand correctly.
Sure.
You don't think purchasing a phony Social Security card and number should be a deportable offense?
I don't think so, because listen, the vast majority of immigrants who've come here, hardworking immigrants, have done that. I can tell you I have family members specifically who came here as undocumented immigrants, and they did the same thing. That's what you need to do to survive in this economy.
But of course, the problem is then you get people, and I know people too, who've had their Social Security numbers and their identity stolen as a result of that. So what about the competing?
Yeah, but Larry, we're not talking about some Russian hack, trolling, people's, databases and stealing, huge numbers of Social Security numbers, bank account numbers, and so forth, et cetera.
No, but I'm talking about if someone files on your Social Security number and it's not really, you have to go to all the trouble of ironing that out.
But you know what, Larry? That's been a reality for the past, 50 years?
That is a state senator, the one who wrote this law we are talking about condoning major crimes. He mentioned in that clip a place in his district called MacArthur Park, which is in Los Angeles. It's where you go and get all your stolen documents. I want you to see what MacArthur Park has become. There is an agenda in the state of California by the people in power, people like Kevin De Leon and Sheriff Villanueva, to give California back to Mexico. They want to turn the state into a third world country and bring it to its knees. Sheriff Villanueva, who was supposed to have public safety in mind as his number one priority, instead prioritizes ideology. And with this ideology comes rampant crime, corruption, and the rise of organized crime. To turn California back into Mexico, it needs to be run like Mexico, and that is what is happening now with SB 54 in place and Sheriff Villanueva at the helm of the most populous county in America. A new society is being created under the reign of Sheriff Villanueva. It's a society where if you look a certain way, or if you are of a certain status, not only are you going to get a pass, but you're going to be allowed to run the streets.
Consider Arizona Sheriff Paul Dabu concerned about exactly who's attending these classes. What's your worry, Sheriff?
Well, the fact it's not just the $5 million that President Obama promised. We learned that Jay Johnson, the Secretary of Homeland Security, put out a 6-page memo, and he said anybody who's been here since January of this year, anybody prior to that date, they're allowed to stay here. There will be deferred action. So,
but you can lie about when you got here. If everything is built on bad paperwork or twisted paperwork, you can lie about it, right?
Well, this number that President Obama promised would be 5 million is now 20 million illegals. And so these workshops are chock full of all these illegals who are coming to it.
How did you get to jump to the 20 million figure?
Because Jay Johnson put out this memo. President Obama said on TV, if you've been here 5 years or more, there will be deferred action, that you'll be given a work permit, driver's license, all access to our social programs. But Jay Johnson, this very same day, put out a memo directive to all 23 agencies under Department of Homeland Security saying that any illegal who's been here this year, as of January of 2014, they are entitled to this deferred action.
So this review that is at least going to slow deportations, to say nothing, and stop them. Then what does it mean for guys like you?
It means guys like me that already have our hands full is that the situation is going to get worse because these 20 million who are here, now they're going to be able to stay here with full legal authority, and it sends the wrong message. It undermined the rule of law, and that it's a neon sign flashing to the millions and millions of illegals who have yet to come here that make it to the border and you're home free. And so instead of having these workshops for illegals, why don't we worry about our homeless veterans or worry about under or unemployed Americans and put the focus there, or maybe take this money and put it into securing the border so we don't have this ongoing problem that we'll have for years and years until we secure the border and enforce all of our laws.
This summer, I'm hearing from experts that bubonic plague is likely, it's already here, it will get onto the rat fleas, and then now finally we have this oral fecal route contamination, which is typhoid fever, 3 cases, 1 confirmed, probably 3. This is unbelievable. I can't believe I live in a city where this is not third world, Laura. This is medieval. Third world countries are insulted if they are accused of being like this. No city on earth tolerates this. The entire population is at risk.